Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down Sha'carri Richardson's 10.77 in comparison to her 11.27. We'll start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so Sha'carri finally was able to get onto the track. We've been waiting for her to be able to get back on for a little while now, ever since she ended up taking last place against, a wide variety of different women, but specifically we had, Lane Thompson and Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, and since then we haven't been able to see her on the track. She's had a couple times where she had to pull out, and so what I did here is I'm comparing the 10.77 that she ran last year before she got the whole performance enhancing problems going on, and quote unquote performance enhancing. We don't really, it's still yet to determine whether or not marijuana is a performance enhancing drug. So this is when she ran 10.77 about the same time last year in comparison to this 11.27. Now with this 11.27, we did see not great weather. It ended up being, the second time that she ran, right? The first one she ran, I want to say it was like 11.37 on the first one, and didn't do as well because, again, it seems like the weather was not great. I haven't done a ton of research into the specifics there, but I wanted to compare, right? And I think that when we watched Sha'carri last year, with this first step, right, we saw that there's some areas to improve within her start, right? Her start is not great overall in terms of really what she's doing with her arms, right? It almost seems like she's really straight with that left arm and not very strong with her extension, right? We see guys like Trayvon Bromell, Ferdinand Omanyala, really all the great guys, Asafa Powell's, right? The guys that have those great starts, they have a lot of ability with their upper bodies. Marcel Jacobs, and even if we look into Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce and Lane Thompson, right? They're able to generate a lot of speed, a lot of torque within their upper body, and it seems like that's something that Sha'carri Richardson struggles with a little bit, right? So we can see on the right, really she pops up even more, I want to say, on the right side in comparison to the left side, right? We go back to that Trayvon Bromell video that we just posted, and he's just so fast on getting that foot down on the ground. He was under 0.18 seconds. So let's let's say she's coming off about there, right? It might be another frame longer, right? So we'll go one more frame and say, okay, it could be as much as 0.44, as little as 0.42. It doesn't touch down until 0.64, right? So that's going to be above 0.2, right? If it's 0.42, right? So 0.22, okay? And so, again, Trayvon Bromell, and typically the transition time is a little bit faster for women, especially, if they're a little bit shorter in terms of how fast they're able to get their feet down, okay? And we can even see, like, here, how fast she got her foot down, right? How quick she was to be able to get her foot down on the ground, right? This is going to be more of the technique that you're looking for out of that beginning step, right? And then look at also that back leg, right? Look at how high that back leg is. Look at some of these other women and where they're at with their back leg, right? So that's a lot more technically sound, right? This is really not great from a technical perspective with those first three steps, and we talk about how important those first three steps are. And she's really behind here, but if we look at before, she was a lot better technically sound as she started. She still had some things to work on, but was also not great out of the start here, right? And then was able to transition to a pretty good, top speed, and really, just had amazing foot contact time, right? And that is, I think, what ends up being the big difference between when you're running in this situation in comparison to this situation, right? So we're looking at 4.19 when she's hitting the ground, and she's basically off within those couple frames, right? So she's in 0.07, if not under, in terms of foot contact time. Again, we did this breakdown before, and we'll get closer to her top speed again here. And she kind of had a little bit of like a thing where she was wobbling side to side a little bit, so it took her a little bit longer to get to her top speed to me. But when we look at your ability to land here, it's just not going to be near as smooth. I'm trying to make it so we can get a good angle here. Let's go 10.71, right? And she's still even on the ground there. Okay, so, that one ended up being, it's a little bit harder to be able to calculate this here. This is 69, 76 still on the ground. So she's above, it's above 76. So she's above 0.07 seconds, right, in terms of foot time on the ground. It's hard to be able to say exactly what it is just because of how the frames ended up being captured here. We'll go 0.91 here on the left, See if this is a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, that was probably close to 0.07, right? But then even when I go and replay it, then it ends up being a little bit different. And now it looks like it's closer to 0.089 or 0.89. Okay. And still 9.6, she's still on the ground, right? So point is, she's a little bit longer foot contact time. Okay, we can look to see how much time she's spending off the ground here. Let's get a good one. We can go about 0.37. Okay, to 5.0. So 0.13, that's good. That's where you want to be. It's not a great one. Okay, this is good. 4.66. Comes back down. 7.9, right? So she's spending about the same amount of time off the ground. Okay, let's calculate a full cycle too. So we'll go 5.0. Again, this one on the right, it seems like it's not great in terms of the accuracy of it. Yeah, so the full cycle is going to be about 0.43 overall. Okay, and we're going to go 7.9. 2.23. All right, so yeah, about 0.44, right? So she's about the same in all these. She might be able to pick up a little bit more distance per step in a better weather condition, but the big thing to me is her foot contact time, right? When it's wet, increase foot contact time, which is going to increase the time, right? Especially for women. The reason I say that is because they take more steps on a typical basis. I think we broke her down before, and she's like in those low 50s, right? And let's say, you know, for the sake of the argument that it takes her about 20 steps to get to her top speed. You know, it's probably less based off of her size and you know, how she is with her technique, right? She's pretty quick to be able to get through her kind of start drive phase, which I would say she wants to be able to work on definitely her start phase and her drive phase. Like, she really needs to be able to clean up some of those things going on with her in her technique. But yeah, but let's say for 30 steps, right, we're going to increase by an average of 0.01, you know, in terms of foot contact time, and it might even be, you know, more on some steps, right? Just by that, that's going to be an additional 0.3 of a second. You know, now we're going to also probably add in a little bit less, you know, distance per step because of the conditions, right? You're not going to be able to hit the ground as well, and that's going to probably add in some more time. So that's going to be close to 4 to 5 tenths, right? And that ends up being the difference. Okay, we saw 10.77 here, 10.27 here. Okay, so to be able to explain it, right, I don't think we necessarily are seeing a, 11.27 here. 10.27 would be a world record. Yeah, so 0.5 seconds is the difference. And so, you know, I don't think it really is a bad performance for Sha'carri here. I think she actually did well in terms of, you know, depending on how bad the weather situation is, right? Given that she didn't have a great start, from a technical perspective, I think she really needs to be able to get that cleaned up. Okay, and then, you know, because some of these women that she competed against actually had a cleaner start. She didn't finish all the way through, right? She started celebrating when she got to her top speed and started passing the girls. And then, you know, the weather conditions, depending on how bad those were, I think it really explains why she ran the time that she did. And you know, I don't want it to say, oh yeah, you know, she's still at that 10.77 speed or 10.6 speed or you know, 10.3s like what you know, Justin Gatlin was talking about, but you know, I don't think she's really that far off is the point of the video here, and to kind of break down the differences from where she was a year ago in comparison to, you know, where she was today. I think that, like I said, I think from a start mechanics perspective, she needs to get a lot better, and if anything, she might have gotten a little bit worse from, you know, what she did last year, but her top end speed might be better because she was able to make up for it, and she was pretty far behind here, and she also was kind of going side to side and was able to, like, once she got to her top speed, she really effectively got into a great position. So, you know, once she can, or was really effectively able to get past all these people. So, you know, if she could do this well, then I think it's going to be a great opportunity for, you know, or if she can continue to you know, work on her start, get a little bit better within that, I think she's going to end up being in a, you know, great position to succeed in the, you know, coming months, right? There's a lot of great races coming up here. And again, I think she's not in a bad position overall, especially given her top speed here and how she was able to come back. So yeah, if you guys like the information, click that thumbs up. We have a lot of great things offered for you guys within our speed program. Definitely take a look at that. I would highly, highly recommend it. There's a lot of things that can help you in being able to improve your, top speed, improve your ability to understand foot contact time, get a program that works. Really, it's the mechanics, right? How do you work on your start? How do you work on your drive? How many steps should you be taking within your first 10 meters, within your first 10 yards, within your first 20 yards? How can we really create numbers to make it so you could have a lot more success, right? And so that's what I'm all about, is really trying to make it so we can identify what are the key things that we want to be able to maximize from a start perspective, or even from a overall sprint perspective. Again, how many steps should you be taking based off of your height? So then you can get a better understanding of where you're at, right? How much time should you be spending on the ground? How much time you should be spending off the ground? All that's going to be in our speed programs, right? The faster 40, there's probably not a lot of people watching this about the 40, but yeah, our speed breakdowns, our speed program with the breakdowns or without the breakdowns all have this stuff. And yeah, I mean, we've been able to see some great results. I want to continue to be able to make that happen. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.